Hey friends, this is Laura with Potpourri of Life. I hope you're having a great day. Today was interesting. We had some more paperwork to finish for the estate. It's off to the court. David was on the phone. We were back and forth. It's finally done, that part. We still have some other interesting things happening. Trust me, if I ever tell you or if I ever get to talking about reverse mortgage, heed my warning. Stay away from them. They are horrible. But anyways, we're going to stay on a positive note here. So David went to work and, I'm kind of like going about getting some things taken care of here. Checked in on the chickens, came in, started doing some other things, and then the lights went out. The reason I'm bringing this up, we're all dealing with the lights going out, but it made me realize that, what is not working in our plan? Because David's not here, I'm on my own. And so afterwards I told him, I said, this is the checklist that we have to go over this weekend just so that if he's not here, I would be all set. Now, it was only out for an hour, hour and a half, and I am fortunate. I still have a trimline, landline phone that doesn't require Wi-Fi. We purposely keep it so if the electricity goes out, we have a method of reaching out to the electric company to let them know, hey, we got an outage. My phone doesn't necessarily work unless I have Wi-Fi, and because I don't piggyback up on anybody else. So what I did is, okay, what do I need to do? First, because the living room was dark, the house is pretty much dark. It was overcast, the snow was coming in, and we did not get a lot of accumulation. And apparently it was an outage over just about a block away from us. And the lines were down. So I don't know if somebody crashed into a pole or it doesn't matter. And I'm like, okay, we rarely lose electricity. And usually the electric company has us back up and running within a few hours. They had us up and running within an hour and a half. But it's still an eye-opener to say, are you prepared if you are without electricity for a number of days? And the first thing that was going through my mind, oh gosh, I hope they get up. I have an appointment on Monday and I'm like, I want a hot shower. So those things are going through my mind, and I said, okay, I know how to sponge bathe. I know how to get cleaned up if I have to. But the other things that I needed to do was I couldn't see around the house. So except for the kitchen, but here in the kitchen, you'll see, I'm going to push this up there. And you see all those twinkly lights? We have them hooked up in the 4 rooms on the main floor. We still have to do the ones for the cellar so that if the electricity is out and somebody's downstairs, oops, but we do have flashlights down there. So that's a good thing. But if you think about it, when you're down cellar where it's really pitch black, do you really think about where did we hide those flashlights? Well, it's important to know. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to kind of like do a little checklist. Where are the flashlights? So that'll be number 1. So I got all the twinkly lights in the living room on, and I noticed that those are starting to dim because we also use them every evening when we're not reading, or we're just kind of like sitting there chatting, or if we're watching a movie together, we don't want to have bright lights, and sometimes we don't even have them on. And sometimes I'll be sitting there crocheting, and that was one thing I decided to do. It's like, you know what a great time to sit down and crochet. And then I got bored because usually I have music on and I couldn't use my CD player, couldn't use the radio. But you know what I did have and I was able to use was I have this Voyager. It's a radio flashlight. It has I was listening to K-Love, the music station. It's a Christian radio station. It has the weather information. It has a variety of things, and it has I plug it in to charge it, but it can also be charged by solar. So if I was outside in the summertime, I would charge it with the solar, but with that I can get my news or whatever, and then you can wind it up and charge it up some more too. And what are some of the other things? And it does have a flashlight. Hold on, let me see if I can figure that out. See, this is what I told David. I said, I need to make sure I know how to use everything that we have here. So, needless to say, I obviously, oops, wait a minute. have my light. And it doesn't take much to figure this baby out. But if I needed a flashlight that wasn't charged, I have an all-in-one inclusive radio, light, news, and I've got the solar energy. So, but the thing about this being plugged in, it was great because it was all charged. Then I looked at my cell phone. It was down to 17%, no, 47%. My iPad was down to 17%. But I couldn't use the iPad anyway. I couldn't use my computer because they go by our Wi-Fi, and our Wi-Fi, you plug in this device, and I don't know why we can't still use it, but that's the way it works. So I said, okay, we don't have the computers, not a problem. But my phone, I can do Wi-Fi with my phone to some degree. So I'm like, okay, and I had just left. I spoke with a tech at where I'm going to have a test done on Monday. And so I'm like, okay, she was going to get back to me, and I'm like, but what if the phone doesn't work? It should work. I just have to pick up the slimline, trimline phone that we've had since, I think since we were married. And so I just kind of like, you know what? There's nothing I can do. So I kept crocheting until I just got bored. And I mean, I'm good with music. I just have my own preferred music that I listen to throughout the day anyway. So I did a few other things. I got caught up on some chores. One of them is being, if you saw my video before, we have a Keurig. And I used to buy those little filters that you can get in a box for $8. Well, I decided, I think it was this past summer, early fall. I said, I am not going to buy that anymore. It's just ridiculous because it kept increasing for a small amount of them. So what I do is I buy my regular coffee filters and I cut them down to size. I just use a coaster, and I'll link in to that video so you can see how I do that. So I spent part of my day making new filters. This is an old candle with a nice cover, keeps things clean, and I've got all of them all cut and ready for the Keurig machine if it comes up again, if the electricity comes back, and it did. So I got that chore done, and it didn't take me very long. But in addition to the crochet, I already had some books. I try to make sure that I have magazines available so that I can still do some learning. And these were right by me, so it's not like I'm going to go find another book to read. I would have preferred to sit back and had enjoyed a regular, relaxing book. But I had the crochet, and then I had this, and it's like, it won't be out long. And it wasn't. It really wasn't. But our bathroom's dark, so we don't have the twinkle lights in there. But this is something that we do have. We have this lovely baby. We got two of them. But what I discovered is when I went in there, the first one I went to turn on, it didn't turn on. So we have to get new batteries in there. That is something that kind of like, I think we all need to do this. When the lights go out, let's all check to see what else it is that needs to be replaced for batteries, replace candles, replace whatever it is you need. So I did use my my battery operated candles that I had out at Christmas time. I keep them out. It's kind of like an ambiance. So I leave them out, and I had them on in the living room, which was really kind of nice. Them and the twinkle lights just kind of made it a very calming atmosphere. And considering I had some questions that I was waiting for the tech to get back to me on, and I'm just one of those people that just kind of gets a little anxious, but I was doing other things to keep my brain focused on other things. And so the supervisor did get back to me, and he sent me an email which came through on my cell phone. So I was really glad about that. After the electricity came back on, this got plugged in. Everything got plugged in to be charged. And that was one thing I told my husband, make sure everything's charged no matter what. And here I am, 47%. But we learned from that. I can go to my car and get this charged up if I really wanted to. I just didn't want to, and I knew that I was confident that our electric company would have things up and running, and they did. What I did in the kitchen was, because this is in the kitchen, I got my oil lamp going. And this is good because you want to make sure that everything is functioning. You have plenty of oil in there. And I know that my supply, I have another bottle. I can refill this easily. I have 2 oil lamps. Would love to get more, but right now I have 2 and it's perfect. So between the battery operated candles and the oil lamp and this, I love this lamp. This is something we got, I don't even remember where we got it. We got 2 of them. And we got them and we spray painted them this bronze color, you know, the Rust-Oleum bronze. And so what we did was we decided to put these lights inside, and they go by battery, and we use them outside in the gazebo in the summer. So we brought them in. I said those would be fabulous in the bathroom, and it really was. It was really kind of nice. And we have other lights throughout. We have salt lights, but those run by electricity. So I'm going to have to see about maybe seeing if there's some battery ones out there. I don't know if there is, but those are some of the options. So, oh, and then I had to check on the flashlights. And this is one my husband brought up from down cellar the other day, and I turned it on and it was like, that's not much light. So one of us has to work on this weekend, make sure it has the right batteries. And I did order a bunch of batteries. And if you have a Battery Plus business in your town, what we did is we ordered online, and within 24 hours, actually sooner than that, we were able to go get our batteries. So I ordered like midday, and on the way home from work, my husband picked up our order. So I have batteries for my twinkle lights, batteries for these type of flashlights, and I picked up some others. And I was using this when I was crocheting, and this needs to be charged up. I used it up. But it's neat. There's a little bit of a plug that plugs into the wall and stuff. So I just have to charge this up after. I think because I like this so much, because I can read with it, I can go out and about if I'm walking outside and it's dark out. This is great because of the light. Let me see if I can get this to work just even for a short moment. Yeah, so it has nice lighting. It charges back up, and it's great for reading. I could see very clearly with it, and I love this. I got it before Christmas intentionally so I would have some lights. But this other battery, this is one that I had picked up. You know, I just made sure it was working, and this one worked out great when I had to go around looking for things. So those were a few of the things that I needed to make sure were working because my house was dark. Another thing that I did not do because I didn't need to, and I was starting to get cold. So as I was crocheting, I had another Afghan. I had thermals on, I had the Afghan on, and then here I am making another Afghan. So I was cozy, and I wasn't worried about the furnace, and I'll tell you why. First of all, the temperatures are not supposed to get to the point where it would freeze our pipes. So okay, I'm not worried about that. It might get down to 33 if our electricity didn't get back. I really don't know how cold it would get. But I wasn't worried because I have plenty of thermals and I've got extra layers, and I just keep putting more and more on until I look like, oh, what is that character? Anyways, until I just am really warm inside. Plus, you know, if I was so cold, I could just crawl into bed. We have like 5 layers of blankets and Afghans and stuff. So I'm really not worried about being cold. The other thing I told my husband when he called at dinner time, I said, "Hun," I said, "I need to go over lighting the stove with you. I know how to do it, but the first time every year you kind of want to have somebody there with you. So we're going to be making sure I know how to do that." The generator, I have never started the generator. So I told him, and he fixed it up, so it should be fine. There's no guarantee because it's an older generator, but if it gives us just what we need, like if it did get really cold and we needed to have the refrigerator and freezer working, we could plug it in so it didn't lose all the coldness. But if I also needed the hot water to run, we would have that so I could take a shower. But I wasn't worried about that because I didn't need it in the moment. And this is the thing, when the electricity goes out, you kind of like sit back. I was waiting for a response, and I'm like, oh no, if they can't get through, will they make the phone call? And quite honestly, I didn't expect a phone call, but because they always say they will and then they don't. But what was really nice, what came through on my phone was a message from her supervisor who got me the information. And there's some things I'm allergic to, so I was questioning that, and she was trying to get it, and she goes, her packaging doesn't say anything. So she went to her supervisor, and he got me the data, the safety data on it, which is great. And so I have that. One of the ones he sent me doesn't tell me what's in it actually, but I'm just going to be proactive and bring what I need just to make sure. But they're aware that I have a skin sensitivity, so I might not be able to use, if I do, I need to make sure it gets washed off, and then I have to put an ointment on, blah, 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 tangent. So, but it was really kind of like, was I thrilled? I wasn't excited, but I was really happy to have the opportunity to say, okay, this is a trial run. What's going to happen if this happened for 3 days? Am I afraid to go without a shower in a day? Nah, because you know what? I can heat up water. I can take a sponge bath. That I'm not worried about. Maybe I'll wear a hat on my hair. But for the most part, I really wasn't worried because we have candles all out. We have battery operated. We have regular candles, like I think I've shown you before. I have regular candles that I do not light with young children around, at least not our active young grandchildren. We've got lights, battery lights, twinkle lights. We have those kind of things to get going. And another thing I was going to do, if I needed to heat up water, I was going to take out my chafing dish. And someday I'll show you how I do it. Take the chafing dish out, which is used for like cheese fondue, you know, another type of fondues, and take that out and heat water on that, because that's in the house. My camping gear is out in the shed, and our house is small, so I can't have everything in here, and it's already, I tell my husband all the time, it just feels so claustrophobic sometimes. So we have to be very wise about where we put things. But I wasn't worried because we had already gone through this. Plus, we're people who go camping, or have in the past. We are not afraid of, my husband is really thankful that I believe in flannel sheets. He doesn't like it when I put them on in the fall. And he goes, oh, it's too early. I said, uh-huh. And do you know who's the first one in bed and so thankful for those flannel sheets? He is, because the flannel sheets, they're good quality, and they actually keep us really warm. And sometimes one of us might go to bed with cold feet. He doesn't dare put his cold feet on me. We won't talk about me. Yeah, sometimes I put my kind of like cuddle up to him. But because I found some thermal socks that keep my feet so warm that my feet are always warm now as long as I have them on and I'm wearing slippers. So that is really important. If your house starts getting cold and your floor is one of the areas that gets cold, we don't have carpeting. We have a rug in the living room, we have a rug in the bedroom in the spare room, but those floors are still cold. And then the tile in the kitchen is cold. Tile is always cold. But I wasn't worried about the house too much because we've done double insulation, and you know, and I think I shared in another video, what I did was I went through what I had for bubble wrap. And that's part of the reason my house is a little dark in the winter. I don't have it on all the windows that we look out, but it's on a bunch of windows so that the cold doesn't come in, but it keeps the heat inside. So our house, we keep the temperature at most at 68 degrees. Our house did not get down to 66. Even though I got cold, the temperatures in that hour and a half did not fall too far. Did I expect it to? No, but it crossed my mind. And but I'm really happy because my phone was half charged, and I was able to get 2 messages that came through. And just after the second message that came through, I was able, everything came on. It took me a while to actually access my computer to be able to respond to the other person. But you know what? Nobody got hurt. Well, I hope not. I don't know why the wires were down the street. But I am really grateful for the experience. And I know sometimes these things can be an inconvenience. You could be in the middle of cooking. You could be in the middle of something. Fortunately, if I was cooking, I would have still been able to. Would not have been able to bake. Oh no, my husband says I would still be able to bake if the oven is still running because it's a gas range. But I wasn't. And I was going to start baking a dinner and everything, and I just like, not happening. We're going to have crackers and something like that, or something really simple, some fruit, and I could still make a dinner. But I just wanted to come on and just say, I hope that when things are going wrong, it's not always easy. I have things that happen that I'm just like, really? And it takes me a while to giggle because some things really take us down. And the situation that my husband and I were working on, we were dealing with the reverse mortgage. Like I said at the very beginning, don't do reverse mortgage. Those are a gift from Satan. But that being said, and I honestly, I will do another video on that because the experiences we are having as beneficiaries, or David's the beneficiary, he's the executor, and it's just kind of like, it's a nightmare. They are cruel. And if you want to have your patients tested, deal with them because they're doing some very unethical things that is just like, I will call them out. And they're playing games. It's really, and I'm keeping a log of it so that when we go to the court, they have a log of it. And that's very important. One of the things you need to do, even if the electricity goes out, keep track of what is happening if you ever are an executor of an estate. But off that topic. So what to do, just to kind of like, in the event the electricity goes out, sure, you can go sit in McDonald's parking lot and use the internet there. But I wasn't I didn't care. I really didn't. I just sent my husband a text, electricity is out. And then when it came back, I let him know. If I absolutely needed something done, that's what I do, is I go to like McDonald's that's right down the street. And I think where the new grocery store is, I think I could probably get online there because all kinds of stuff is going in there. But have things by your chair that you sit at. Do you crochet? If not, I sew too, but I didn't have any sewing projects that were hand stitch, and I don't have my manual sewing machine. I have it. It's set up. I just didn't have it set up to work on a project. So have those type of things. Have reading material. And that was my cell phone. Your cell phone should still work depending on what kind you have. We do not have an expensive. We have total wireless, and we're thinking about changing because I guess Verizon bought them out. We never liked Verizon when we had them before, but we're not in a hurry. I like paying by month. That's just my preference. But there are other plans I'm learning about. And that's the nice thing about the lights are out. There's no electricity, there's no distraction. And I'm telling you, I had the music on, and I like K-Love. I love that station. But it was at the point where it's like, nope, it was too distracting for me because I had other things that I wanted to do, but I wanted to be quiet. Yet those moments are also opportunities for you to think through what things need to be fixed up. What do we need to make sure is working? And, you know, are your pets taken care of? Are they warm? The chickens were fine. They're crazy. Even when I went out at 4:30 or something like that too, because it gets dark around then, I was putting them in. I always have one. Padme was the one today. She was just running from me. And I'm like, yes, serious? They do this all the time. And they come over and I pet them. They squat down, you pick them up, you put them in. Well, Padme had a fit. But they were all set. I don't have to worry about them. But still, it's always in the back of my mind because they are a responsibility. Think about all those things. So when your electricity goes out, even if it's for just an hour and a half, what during that time frame did you not have? What did you wish you did have? Me, I want to get a new battery into this flashlight my husband had, because we have them throughout the house. I need to recharge this one now that the electricity's on, I just go get the plug it in, and it'll be charged for the next time that I need it. I need to get the new battery for the other one of this. So there's a checklist that I have of, okay, that didn't work, and you make a checklist of what you need to do for when the lights come on, or if they're not coming on, do you need to go get batteries? And remember, when your Wi-Fi is down, you can't go placing orders to go pick up batteries at Battery Plus. You just can't do that. But that is one thing that I do highly recommend. Check your battery inventory, because even with these lights, they're run by battery. Takes 3 AA, I believe, and maybe it's AAA. I don't know. It's the thicker ones, and we go through those if we have to have them on. So I don't have them on all the time because I want to reserve them. Check your inventory of what batteries you're using, and then make sure that that's on the list and go purchase it. Now, we have extras, so if we have to replace things twice, we can do that. But do what you can. Yes, the other day we noticed that our grocery store had batteries. I think it was a AAA. I don't remember. The ones that David likes us to have. And he said the store had them. Now, it was a store brand. It wasn't the greatest, and you know, because we like to stay with a name brand. But I said, you know what? What if we can't get batteries? I said, this would just cover us for a time frame. I believe you pay for what you get. But in some cases, it's okay to have a lesser costly item to just get you by until your order is in or you're able to afford more. And that's how I like to think about this. I don't know if how you handled the outages that were here a couple of weeks ago. We didn't have the outages. We were very blessed, and we're very fortunate. And as we talk about, we want to relocate. I said, you know, we've been very fortunate because we rarely go out of electricity. We don't have problems with our fuel consumption because we've insulated our house over the years, different measures. And, you know, we have insulation in our attic. We have insulation in our walls ×2. We have a variety of things. So every year we're trying to figure out how can we cut back a little bit more. And that's what you have to think about. And you know, you can't do this overnight. It's a process. So if you're in an apartment, you know what's important for you is lights. And if you need a method of cooking, have your grill on your deck. And we weren't worried about it because I had salad fixings in the refrigerator. And yeah, I could make a soup and I could have done that. But I have the salad fixings. There's no sense in me worrying about the stove. So there you have it. That was my experience today. It was a test run for me, whereas other people had their test run and it lasted more than a couple of days. And I felt really bad. I was praying that their lights would all come on. But today was just a reminder that we just don't know when this will happen. This isn't a conspiracy thing. This happened. This happens and can happen almost any time. You just don't know. So be aware. You should be prepared for this kind of stuff at all times. You should be prepared before a storm arrives. And even though the roads are snowy and icy, you should always be prepared. You leave a half an hour. My husband drives an hour to work, so he leaves a half hour early. I have an appointment that's an hour away. I leave a half hour early because if something happens, more often than not, it's an accident on the road. And I'm just that type of person that does not like to be late when people have scheduled. And I think it might go back to the fact of how I was raised, possibly. But also when I ran my sewing business, I would schedule people. And with that, when somebody was late, it threw things off. And so they'd come in late, and I'm like, where are they? Where are they? And then I wasn't able to work on theirs, so everything was delayed. Whereas some places, too bad. And, you know, that's just the way it is. And sometimes I had to say that. It's like, I'm sorry. And recently I had to do that with, a couple months ago, a military person. And I still take my military guys on and gals. But, you know, I did one thing for him, and then he called and he says, I really need this done. I said, okay, you can come by. And he called and he says, well, I can't do it. And it was a holiday weekend. And so I said, well, why don't you show up on Tuesday, you know, the weekend and stuff. I said, okay, we agreed. He never showed up. Pickup day was Thursday. And then he called on Thursday late in the afternoon wanting to drop by. And I said, I'm sorry. I said, even though I'm not running this full time, I have other things going on. I can't sit here and wait. You told me you would be here on Tuesday. You never called. You never showed up. And now that you need it this weekend, I don't work like that. I don't work in a rush. I used to because I could. But right now I don't, because we have other things going on in our lives. And that has been part of my transition. I started in the fall. It's like, nope, I'm gonna take care of me first. But do I want to serve the military? Do I want to serve others with my sewing? Absolutely. I want to help people. But I also have to be respected in return. So that's why I like to get to places on time. So we try to leave on time. Now, accidents happen. Things prevent you from getting to your destination on time. But, you know, my husband just left earlier. So that's what we do when we know bad weather could be in the way. Even in the summer if there's a lot of rain. And so, I don't know if this is helpful. Maybe I shared too much, but it did teach me, and that's why I'm coming to you. I shared before, when the lights go out, I shared with you some of the things we had. I didn't share about my radio, and I love my radio. I've had this since August, and I use it out in my garden area. He made me a thing. A greenhouse out of a gazebo that the trees kind of like messed up. So I had it out there, and it's been great because I use it. I let the sun charge it up in the summertime, and I listen to music out there. And so when the lights went out today, I said, oh, where is my radio? And I took my flashlight and I'm going around the house looking for my radio. So I had my radio, I had crochet, I had reading materials, I had a project done. And within that hour and a half, I got a lot of stuff done. And I had time to think about not just things that we needed, but I had time to reflect on things that are going on in my life, things that I have to think about and that are concerning, and decide where the priority is and how important it is to do certain things. Folks, be good to yourself. Please make sure that you have things on hand for when the lights go out. Have a method of cooking, but also when those opportunities happen, you realize that, wow, I wish I had this. Then make plans when the lights come back on and you have the resources. Please do not go into credit card debt. That is just, don't do that. That's not worth it. But if you have the funds, then at that point, just go ahead and get it so that you have it for the next time. So have a great evening. I don't know if this is going to get up tonight. If not, it'll be up first thing in the morning on Saturday. But I hope you're having a great day. May God bless you.